105.9 FM WOVU Cleveland. I hope you are having a phenomenal morning. Listen, this is the show where I interview interesting people who are doing powerful, positive, courageous things with a wonderful, uplifting spirit, not only in our local area, but all around the globe. And when I tell you I am excited about today's episode, that's really kind of like an understatement a little bit. The guest who we have joining us today has been here with us before. And the first time he came on the show, it was straight fire. But, you know, he has grown and evolved even more since then. So I cannot wait for the conversation that we're going to have today and how that may add value to you in your day, in your life. But before I introduce you to our awesome, dope guest, let me give a shout out to all the women out there, because this is a Women's History Month. And it is important for us to think about, you know, all the dope things that women have and continue to contribute to the world. So Women's History Month is a time that's dedicated to reflect upon the contributions of women to U.S. history. It grew out of a weekly celebration organized by the School District of Sonoma, California in 1978. Shout out to 1978. Great things were made in 1978. I was made and born in 1978. I'm just saying. Anyway, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th as National History Week. Congress later came around and adopted celebrating that over the year, and it's grown from there. Now, in addition to March being Women's History Month, another dope fact is that today, March 8th, is International Women's Day. Okay, so not only are we celebrating Women's History Month here in the United States, but today is International Women's Day. So shout out to all the amazing women who are tuning in today. We thank you. We appreciate you for all of your love, your wisdom, your strength, your perseverance, the way that you raise our families and hold society together. You know, this is our month. So ladies, let's live it up and celebrate. So now that we have given our propers to the queens, it is time to introduce someone who I am proud to call a friend, and he's just a phenomenal human being. When I tell you that he uses his voice to help ignite greatness in other people, you're going to hear it for yourself right here on this show. So our guest today is an expert transformational coach that has been featured in NBC, CBS, ABC, Yahoo Finance, Wall Street Select, and Fox Network affiliates, as well as other major news outlets. He is a dynamic powerhouse speaker with more than 10 years of experience in the field of speaking, training, and breakthrough success. He has also authored the Amazon best-selling hit book titled GPS My Success. His messages and concepts help people to grow to the next level as he inspires an atmosphere of greatness in the lives he connects with daily. He speaks, inspires, and teaches leadership, professional development principles to 60 to 70 organizations a year. When I tell you this brother works hard, he works hard. I might need to find out if he got some, Caribbean background in there, because, don't they say that Jamaicans have 3 jobs, man? You got like 70 jobs, man. Anyway, some of the companies that he's worked with include Ford Motor Company, Honda, General Electric, Toyota, Anthem, Kroger, the United States Postal Service, ODOT, Department of Defense, United States Military, National Urban League, and so many more. His YouTube channel has more than 200 positive video testimonials from event planners and attendees that have heard him speak. And he is constantly on people's podcasts, on social media live. So who am I talking about? None other than my good friend, Mr. Karim R. Ellis. Karim, welcome back to Conversations and Courage with the girl, Imani Capri. I'm so happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. And before we go any farther, it is International Women's Day. So I want to celebrate you being one of the dopest radio show hosts that I have ever had the pleasure and privilege to be on their show. I'm so excited to be back here yet again. I know we're going to mix up some great stuff. One of the things I want to just jump off the bat, because you threw it out there, and I do want to celebrate all the women listeners today, whether you're mom, stepmom, daughter, granddaughter, grandmother. There's an analogy I love using where I talk about the concept of the game chess. And I'm a diehard chess player, and I tell people all the time that in the game of chess, the goal is to put the king in checkmate. The game does not end until the king's been put in checkmate. The problem is a lot of times we focus on just the king, right? Mm-hmm. But I want to say something. I want you guys to understand this and overstand, as one of my coaching clients always says, understand and overstand, that even though the king may be the most important piece on that game, because it ends when the king's in checkmate, the most powerful, unique player on the board is always the queen.
Come on now.
It's always the queen. As a chess player, my job is always to value and protect the queen, because she can do more moves on the chessboard than any other piece. So for all my women out there, no matter what happens in this year, make sure no one ever takes you off the board. You got this. This is your season. This is your time. Ooh. And we celebrate you for being who you are unapologetically. You know, we love the power of what the female perspective does. And I love the fact that you are celebrating this on your show today. I love it.
Thank you. And you know what's awesome? We're actually kicking the celebration off with you. So thank you for being a great king who is acknowledging the power of queens, the power and value of queens. And I think that message can never be emphasized too much, because whether I look at my own personal life and some shifts that have been happening in 2022, or thinking about other women in my life, friends or family members whom I care for deeply, there are a lot of women who have been catching hell.
Yes.
You know, I mean, really, we just going to keep it. This is called Conversation to Courage, Karim, right? So
that's right.
Women out here who have been catching hell in order to manifest their heaven on earth, right? Like, and it is sometimes difficult to endure. It is sometimes difficult to understand the value of some of the challenges, you know, or it's easy for us to sometimes take ourselves for granted. So I think that, you know, having people take a moment to just think about all the women, most people have been touched by some positive woman in some form or fashion, right?
Yes.
So taking some time to acknowledge women and to acknowledge that women should be celebrated, women should be encouraged, women should be able to have spaces to be vulnerable, especially Black women. You know, we don't need to carry that strong Black woman trope so much, because it actually kills us. So, and I think it is very important in our culture to have more of our men be able to just give us kind of like that acknowledgement and respect. Now, the men need it too. The men need it from the women too. You know, I'm not going to take that away from our brothers. You know, we both have something that we can contribute and add to each other's healing and elevation, right? But I just appreciate you being one of the people that has helped kicking off the great content that I'm going to do this month for celebrating women.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I want to add one more thing onto it, right? The queen can perform more moves on the chessboard than any piece out there, but the danger to the queen is when she doesn't know that. The danger to the queen is when she doesn't know that. There are a lot of queens walking around here with amnesia, where they forgot what they can actually do. They forgot how powerful they actually are. So in this week, I encourage all the queens listening to take a look at yourself and give yourself a high five, and remember just how many moves you are equipped and able to make that can actually change the dynamics of what happens on this game of life that we play out here every single day. Take a look at yourself. Remember all the moves you can make, because you can make more moves than any other piece on life's chessboard. That I promise you. Yes. That I promise you. The wise king is looking for a queen that knows her power and knows her value. I can't do anything with this queen on the chessboard unless I know that she knows her value and she knows what she can do, right? So that's something I just want to throw out there for a lot of the women listeners out there. Know your value, know your worth.
And you know, this is so crazy, but as you're saying this, I keep getting this picture of Rafiki from The Lion King in my head when he's like, Simba, know who you are. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I feel like you're reminding us as women, like women, queens, remember who you are. Like, especially when it's hard. You know, you had you participated in a live stream recently that you tagged me on, and it was really powerful because one of the things that you talked about was how women sometimes invest in men or in situations, seeing what they can be, not what they are yet, but seeing what they can be. And so, I just wanted to touch on that because I feel like sometimes we as women, we make investments in things, and we sometimes can lose ourselves in that investment. And the investment is not always even being appreciated or recognized at the time, right? So us being able to remember who we are is very important. Before we go to our first break, Karim, I know that you had mentioned a message that you were working on for women around birthing things. Do you want to touch on that a little bit? We have about 6 minutes.
About 6 minutes
before we go to our first break.
6 minutes, right?
No, yes,
so
you can.
What I say is simply this, right? There's a message I call, who are you being intimate with? Who are you being intimate with, right? And we're grown adults when we talk about the idea of sex. Typically sex will take place when two people are vibing and feel the energy of each other, and they keep spending time with each other. Eventually, there's going to be some intimacy that's going to enter to the foyer, right? And so when I say, who are you being intimate with, I'm talking about in the mental sense. I believe that everyone has the ability to hold game-changing ideas inside their mind. I believe the mind is like the womb. It's designed to hold ideas and concepts. But in order for your mind to be impregnated, it's got to be knocked up with the right mental conversations. So a lot of times, if I'm vibing with the right person, we're exchanging ideas, before I know it, my mind is knocked up with the game-changing concept that may change the trajectory of my life. Now, as we go through the pregnancy process, we got the mind being fertilized, right? We got something gestating and growing inside the mind. And what we know as we go through the pregnancy process, that my cravings will start to change, right? I remember when my child's mother was pregnant, she started craving weird things like pickles and ice cream and salt on top of hot peppers. And I'm looking at her saying, you can't put your mouth on me kissing me after you just ate that, right? But those strange cravings were there because it satisfied the needs of the baby. For some of you, when you get knocked up properly, your diet is going to change. You're going to start to crave different things. Before, you may have liked to watch a lot of junk food TV because you had a junk food mindset. But as you start to grow that thing, the books you read, the TV shows to watch, the things you actually aspire to, who you follow on social media, will start to change. You'll start to actually go after what we call strange things. Your friends going to look at you and say, man, when you start following that person, when you start reading books like that, because the cravings are changing based on what you're going to give birth to, right? And then we know we get to the point where we're getting ready to go into labor. And we know before labor, there's always labor pains. I'm going to say that again. Before we enter into labor, there's always labor pains. And for most of us, that's when all hell breaks loose in our life. That's when the job decides to let you go. That's when family and friends fall out with you. That's when relationships are on the rocks and they fall apart. And what I tell people, that if you are in the labor room getting ready to give birth, the doctor tells you to do one thing and one thing only, just to push. That's it. Your job is a push. I know the labor pains are distracting. I know they hurt. I know when that job lets you go, it hurt. I know when that person walked out your life, I know it hurt. But you on the verge of giving birth to something powerful. You on the verge of giving something that's going to change the trajectory and the destiny of your life. So while you on that labor table, your job is just to grit down and push. And before you know it, you giving birth to something that may not only change your life for the better, but it may change millions of lives all over the world because you went through the pregnancy process. So I always ask people, what and who are you being intimate with? Because the thing you deliver may be dictated by who you choose to associate with in the season.
I love that. That is a super powerful message. I want to ask you in these few minutes before we go to our first break, what would be three like practical things you would give to our women listeners in particular, if they are in a place and space where what they are birthing is a truer version of themselves?
Ooh,
what would be the three kind of push points that you would offer? Yeah.
Right. So push point number one is, if I'm in labor and I'm going through labor pains, I got to be focused on what the outcome is. Too many times we get distracted. I got to imagine that baby being pushed out, and I'm holding that little baby in my hands and cutting and loving up on it and seeing the finished product of what I've given birth to, what I've carried around for the last 9 or so months. I know some people's labor go a little bit longer than 9 months. If I can focus on what the end result is, that's what's going to keep me anchored while I'm going through the labor process. Number one, understand that. Number two, I got to understand that it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. I'm going to say that again. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I don't pop a baby out and then that baby just starts to grow and walk and talk and do everything on its own. That means there's going to be some nurturing, some coddling, some cuddling. I got to be responsible for taking care, changing diapers. So I got to be willing to understand over the course of time before this thing hits maturity that I'm going to be in the maintenance phase. I got to be okay with waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and being a little bit uncomfortable to get into a stage where that child or that project can live on its own. And then number three, I may decide that I want to repeat the process. I may decide that I want to repeat the process. I know a lot of people that say I'm only having one kid and that's it. And then once they see that bundle of joy, I think I might want to go back for round two. The scariest thing about labor, the scariest thing about giving birth is it's the labor process. No one is scared about having sex. That's the fun part, right? No one is really scared about gaining just a little bit of weight or the weird cravings. That's fun to rub on the belly and all that. But the scary thing about labor is being in pain. You can love the process so much at the end that the pain no longer bothers you. Look at Kiki White. I tell people all the time, I love Kiki White. I said, Lord, let my bank account be as fertile as Kiki White's womb. I want to just keep giving blessings and blessings and blessings. So that would be my three before I break, right? That would be the three I would give to all the women listeners out there. Be okay with the process. Be okay with the process and love it so much you're willing to do it again and again and again. I'm talking to the serial entrepreneur. I'm talking to the author. I'm talking to the person that's going to turn around and create a nonprofit. There's so many successful things that's going to come out of the group of folks listening to this broadcast today. Be in love with giving birth to a multitude of things inside your lifestyle. God said, multiply and fill the earth. So multiply in my mind can mean a multitude of different things. It may be multiple businesses. It may be multiple bank accounts. It may be multiple trips around the world. You choose what it is, but I think you're designed to give birth to a multitude of things.
That's really powerful. And I want to ask you, we have to go to this next break or our first break. Yes. But when we come back from the break, I'm going to plant the seed with you a little bit, right? Before we go to the break. And that is, I want you to talk about the importance of the delivery team.
Woo!
Okay, you got that? All right. So WOVU listeners, I mean, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. We're back. You're listening to Conversations and Courage with the girl, Imani Capri, right here on 95.9 FM, WOVU Cleveland, a Burton Bell Car community radio station. Listen, if you are not following me on social media, please make sure that you do so. On Facebook, you can find me at Imani Capri, on YouTube, Imani Capri, on TikTok, the Imani Capri or the Imani Capri, Instagram, @Imani Capri. So we are talking with our awesome, dope guest, my good friend and phenomenal transformational coach, dynamic powerhouse speaker, Mr. Published author as well, Mr. Karim Ellis. Again, Karim, thank you so much for being here with us today. So before we went to that break, you were talking about labor and birthing things, right? Let me set my timer here. I'm sorry for the background noise, but we got to stay on time with this. You were talking to us about the birthing process, and you gave us 3 push points that we could keep in mind if we are birthing or rebirthing ourselves, right? Birthing a truer version of ourselves in this 2022. I kept hearing in my spirit, like God and the ancestors, my higher self talking to me about, we can't forget the importance of having a qualified and the right delivery team. And even when you were talking about push point 2 being a marathon and not a sprint, I kept having this vision, like when people are really running those serious marathons, they have support like along the way, right? Somebody's there, like, here's the water, keep going. Here's the towel, keep going, you know? So if you can talk with us a little bit about, when it comes to our goals and our dreams, healing, aligning with our purpose, or rejuvenating ourselves after we have poured from our cup into everybody else's, and now we have to fill ourselves up and rebirth something new from that. Talk to us about the importance of the delivery team.
Ooh, wow. So I'm a strong believer that if you want to go fast, travel alone. But if you want to go far, you have to build a team. I'm going to say it again. If you want to go fast, you can run the thing alone. But if you want to go far, you better think about building a team. I got to say this, right? Because I know there's been a million women on this planet that have gone into labor all by themselves. They had no one in there to hold their hand. There was no one that went through the midwife classes, teach you how to breathe properly. Breathe, push, breathe, push. Here's a contraction, knuckle up, squeeze my hand. But for the women that have been through the process and they know about having the right partner inside that room, that made a mountain of difference, right? To know that I'm not going through the birthing process on my own. So I'm a strong believer that if I'm giving birth to something inside my mind, I got a future forecast to what the whole process looks like. Meaning, if I'm going to build a business, who's the person that's going to be in the delivery room with me who I can count on, right? And that's the key thing, who I trust and can count on, because a lot of times we bring people into the birthing room that forget to hold our hand, that forget to tell us how to push, that forget to put the ice chips in my mouth because my mouth is dry. And if you're in the room and you're not playing your part, why are you in the room with me?
And can I just add something on to what you were just saying?
Yes.
That just occurred to me was that you started this off talking about who are we being intimate with, right?
Yes.
And sometimes if you're not being intimate with the divine within, if you're not being intimate with God and your higher self and building that faith relationship with the God of your understanding, you don't want to get to the delivery room and realize that you were intimate with the wrong person or intimate with somebody who couldn't even help you. They didn't help you create something that they can't even help you deliver now. Right. And so I think a lot of us, and talking to our sisters, in this whole concept of revealing a more true you in 2022, we have to be really truthful with ourselves. What are we being intimate with? And not lying to ourselves about what we are trying to birth and who we are partnering with in order to birth that. And I think sometimes we can be vulnerable to, being intimate with the wrong type of energies or not choosing the right partners because we were vulnerable at a particular time. And then we get to labor and delivery and we're like, you can't hand me the ice chips? What in the whole hell?
I'm laughing because, and we're saying this in the physical, but I know we're talking about it in the mental and the spiritual. Every month in my social media feed, I find at least one woman, and please don't take this the wrong way from my ladies out there, that gets on social media and they rant and rave about the person they decide to have a child with. He's a deadbeat. I wish I never met him. I wish I never knew him. The problem is there was a selection process when you decided to lay with him. There was a choice, right? A lot of times the mistake is when we choose someone out of hurt, right? If I'm not in the right mental capacity, if I'm operating out of emotion versus common sense, I can make a bad decision all day long. The healing comes from not from blasting that person. The healing comes when I have to admit to myself, I made a mistake. There are plenty of relationships I got into where I want to blast them, but the healing comes, I says, you know what? They wrong, but I chose them. So next time the learning lesson is I have to choose better. Right? I have to choose better. A lot of times, I don't believe the people that spring up and show you who they are. They've always been showing you who you are, right? The issue being is if I've been paying attention to what they've been showing me, so I don't get into the delivery room and find out you don't want to help me out in my time of need. In some way, shape, or form, a lot of times, people are always who they are. It's just, am I paying attention? Am I seeing the red flags that manifested in month 1 of delivery, month 2 of delivery, month 3 of delivery? For sometimes it was actually during the intimacy process. I just chose not to see it because there were things I liked about you, but the things I should have been red flagged attention to really weighed more value. I just chose not to see it, right?
Absolutely. So, and I think that, I just want to emphasize for our women, because women are so used to pouring out, right? That we don't sometimes we will be the ones who are literally pouring from that empty cup, trying to get that last little, droplet of water or whatever it is on the bottom of the cup, giving it to somebody else. Whereas when it comes when it comes time for us to now have to nurture ourselves, we are so depleted that sometimes puts us in partnership with the wrong type of mindset or the wrong type of energy to produce what we say we want to produce. So what I would want to say in this conversation to my sisters out there, and also reaffirming for myself as well, is that in those seasons of refilling ourselves up, who we are being intimate with should start with ourselves. We should be first intimate with ourselves, with God, the creator, source. That should be our primary partner in producing whatever it is that we're going to birth, right? Because that will guide us. That will give us the discernment to say, oh, this person should play this role on my delivery team, or no, they shouldn't be on the delivery team at all. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we've been milking this message here.
Timeout, flag on the play, repeat first down, because I got to add value to what you just said. Something I've been saying on stages for years. When it comes to lions and lionesses, I'm gonna say this again. When it comes to a lion and a lioness, a female lion doesn't need a male to help it hunt. And a lot of people fail to understand this, right? A female lioness is one of the world's greatest hunters, one of the world's greatest assassins. A lioness does not need a male lion out there to help it hunt. It knows how to hunt. It knows how to stalk its prey. It knows exactly what to do to take down the prey of its choice. What the lioness does rely on the male lion for is to provide the value it's supposed to bring, which in this case here is muscle. Is muscle, right? A lot of people don't understand this, but a female lioness will let two male lions fight to the death before choosing the suitor, because that's to make sure I'm picking the right lion for the job. I'm gonna put you to what I call a test. The problem I see with a lot of women out there, they don't put the male suitors to a test. They don't put them to a test. Hello. They may look at the car, they may look at the money, they may look at the lifestyle, but you haven't tested that thing, right? One of the things Les Brown put inside of me, I'm gonna share with you guys here today, faith that can't be tested can't be trusted. I'm gonna say it again. Faith that can't be tested can't be trusted. So before I give you my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, before I give you all of me, I gotta put you to a test to see if you can be trusted. If you can't be trusted, it's going to show up. The reason why a female lioness will let two male lions fight to the death before deciding which one she's going to pick as a partner is because at some point in time, right, there's going to be a surge on the actual lion's camp. There will be another male lion who doesn't want to create his own pride and decides, I'm going to bump off this male lion and I'm going to take by force all the female lions inside this tribe. I'm going to take all of them. But in order to do that, I got to take that male lion out. If I'm successful on wiping that male lion out, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all the offspring, all the cubs under a certain age, and I'm going to wipe them out. I'm going to kill them. Number one, that's not my offspring. Number two, the quicker I get rid of your cubs, the quicker I put you back in mating mode. It's rare for a female lion to have enough muscle to take down a grown male lion. So if I'm going to choose a suitor, I got to make sure that you hold up to the sniff test, right? The fire test. Because when I need you, I know you got to be able to play your part. This goes back to the delivery room analogy, right? If I'm going into labor, I got to know that you are the right person to hold my hand and coax me through the delivery process, because I don't need you folding under pressure when I need you most. This is one of the reasons why a lot of us get in trouble, because we're not looking at the vision of where we're going to be down the road. We look at the immediate. We're not looking at where this relationship's going to take us 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Are we building an empire, or are we just trying to play it day by day? The greatest successful people in the world are visionaries, meaning they future forecast out into the distance, not looking at what you're going to look like in the bedroom tonight. And a lot of people miss it.
That's really deep. And one of the things that you talk about quite frequently in your messages is the importance of setting the vision. Right. And you have a whole book. I started to say a whole book, and then I remember we're on the radio, not YouTube, right? I had to catch myself. But you talk about how important it is to set the vision. And I think when we are talking about birthing and bringing in the age of Aquarius now, a whole new energy. Setting the vision is important, because the vision will help us define who is supposed to play, what roles. And we need to be intimate with the highest part of ourselves, with our creator and with our inner divinity, in order to understand, well, what should that vision be? And guide me to see who's supposed to play what role, before you start birthing stuff, before you start making those babies, right? Because once the babies are here, you can't send it back. And the babies could be whatever it is that you create with another person or XYZ. So, having that vision and vision created from wisdom and discernment and faith is super important. We have about 5 minutes before our next break. Talk to us about, setting the vision.
Absolutely. So in the book, GPS My Success, the reason why I titled that, because I feel that a GPS is a vision machine. My favorite scripture in the book of life says, write the vision and make it plain. It doesn't say make it confusing. It doesn't say make it awkward, because you can't follow confusing instructions. So I got to be plain about what I want. When I'm plain about the vision, guess what else lines up? I can now decide between what resources need to be with me on this journey and what resources I don't. Now, the idea is that if I'm going on a long journey, right, if I'm going to travel 10 hours by car, and I know I'm going 10 hours by car because the GPS says it's a 10-hour trip, I got an idea of what I want to bring along for the trip that's going to make the trip a little bit easier, right? I may want to bring snacks. I may want to bring a great music selection. I may not want to bring along that giant 2-liter of soda to drink when I get out, because I don't want to keep stopping finding bathrooms on the highway. And there's certain people I may want on the journey with me. And there's certain people you cannot travel with me 10 hours by car, because you would get on my last nerve, right? So when I got the vision, it gives me an idea of what resources are needed for the journey. And people think about money, they think about education, they think about time, they think about coaches, they think about mentors, they think about all these things. But the one thing they forget to understand, people are resources too. People are resources too. So in the dating aspect of it, right, if I know where I'm going, it should give me a good idea of what my potential partner that's going to eventually be in that delivery room with me for whatever I'm giving birth to should look like. I want to know who's riding the shotgun with me. The other thing is this, because we got some people listening today where they go, well, Karim, that's great. I've got my GPS lined up. I got my vision, but one of the resources is we no longer working out, right? Let me be clear, because a lot of people will set an address in the GPS only to understand I've already got stuff loaded in my car. Well, that's great, because now that you've already got the GPS loaded up and the resources there, you can pick through those resources and say, you know what? I thought I needed this for the journey, but it turns out I don't. A lot of people hold on to people resources for a journey. And when you really look at where you're going and you got clarity, I really don't need you. I don't need to hold on to you for this leg of the race. You weren't really serving the value that I thought you was going to serve anyways. So releasing you comes a little bit easier when I understand I had you here for the wrong reason. This is for anybody in this season that's holding on to something or someone or something or somebody. Be clear about where you're going, because you may be holding on to it for comfort reasons versus conquering reasons, right?
And I would like to just piggyback onto that. Sometimes we want to hold on to things that God is showing us we need to release, that God will actually eject from your life. And you'll be like, wait a minute, wait. And it'll be like, no, that's about to obstruct what you're trying to give birth to right here. You don't see it, but I see it, right? So whether it's friendships, it could be family relationships, it could be a romantic partner. But I think that when we are, again, keeping in this theme of a truer you, I don't want to say, I did an episode last week about new you in 2022. And the soul coach who I had on the show said, really, it's not about a new you. It's about revealing the more true you. Right. So I love that. But if we are thinking about how women and the journeys that we go through at different stages of womanhood really shapes our world, right? Then I think all the things that we are talking about, even though it's a lot and it's intense, it's really important for us as women to look at what we are birthing within ourselves, because whatever relationship we have with ourselves, that is what we plant into our families. That is what we plant into our relationships with partners. That's what our families and our children and the institutions that we touch go out into the world and blossom. So what we are birthing in the process of, who we're being intimate with to create whatever we're going to birth, what that is guided by, and realizing when certain seasons are changing. and certain roles may have to change in terms of the delivery team in order to bring forward those babies or whatever is being birthed, your dreams, your goals, your visions, your hopes. It's very important, and especially when we look at this in the context of a world that is still coming or navigating its way through this pandemic. We also have what is potentially being labeled as World War III happening, with Russia invading Ukraine. Everything that happens in the outer world is ultimately a manifestation of what is happening on our inner world on an individual level and a collective level. So even though we are being very entertaining and talking about, birthing and all this great analogy, the truth is you really do need to get clear. We all need to get clear about what we are being intimate with as it pertains to the type of vibrations, visions, and products or productions that we are putting out into the world. Because if we don't know how to cultivate peace and healing within ourselves, then guess what? We're all photocopying that energy out into the universe. So we have to take our next break. But WOVU listeners, I know I don't have to tell you to go anywhere. I mean, why would you want to miss the rest of this awesome, dope conversation? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to Conversations and Courage with the girl, Imani Capri, right here on 95.9 FM WOVU Cleveland. Make sure you download the WOVU app, available on your Android or Google Play Store, your Apple App Store. And also you can tune in to this show and all the other great content on this station anywhere in the world by going to WOVU.org online, WOVU.org online. Tell all your friends, okay? Karim, we're back. Thank you so much again for joining us. We are in the last segment of the show. So we got about 16 minutes. They say time flies when you're having fun. This thank you again for joining me. And I so look forward to some upcoming things we're going to collaborate on as well. In this last segment of the show, just we can go a little bit more personal, if that's okay. Just update us on, what has developed for you since you were here, like a year or so ago?
It was like a year. It was about a year or so ago. Yeah. So I always speak from the aspect of being teachable content, relatable content, right? And so myself, like many others, celebrate number one, you making it through what I call 3 crazy years, right?
Yes.
We made it from 2020 to 2021 to 2022. I'm laughing because a lot of people went to 2022 with nervous energy. We knew about everybody at the stroke of midnight going into 2020, celebrating New Year, New Me, and then all hell broke loose in 2020. So folks are like, I don't know about celebrating these years now. So I got to be at least a good 3 months into the year before I start to celebrate and start talking my goal, dream smack, right? So like many people out there, I tell people, we made it through 2020, which is the year of what I call perfect vision. And before anybody says, I don't want to hear no more, there is nothing perfect about 2020. I say it absolutely was, because for many of us out there, 2020 was the year of perfect vision. What I mean is this, is if I go to a doctor's office to get my eyes examined, the ophthalmologist is going to make me look at a chart on the wall. He's going to make me try to read those things. And if I hesitate or if I can't see things clearly, a lot of folks don't realize I wear contacts. I've been wearing contacts since like the 8th grade.
Me too. And a lot of people try to front on that last little line, and it'd be like, you can't see it.
Can't see it. You got you squinting, trying to guess, is that a P or is that a T? Right? Trying to just guess your way to the finish line. But at the end of the day, if you fail the vision test, the doctor's going to give you a prescription. And the prescription is to do one thing only, is to send you back in the world with perfect vision. Perfect vision is 2020. That's the best sight a human can get. I tell people all the time, do you think it's ironic that one of the worst years on record was 2020?
No.
It was a year of perfect vision, because a lot of us went into 2020 thinking that we were living perfect lives. We thought our money was great. We thought our relationships was great. We thought we were secure because we had that degree behind our last name, that job wasn't going to let us go, right? We thought we had everything figured out. And in the year of perfect vision, more hell broke loose in the first 3 months of 2020 than what most people have seen since they've been on this planet. It ain't too many of us has been around that's lived through a global pandemic. Not just a U.S. pandemic, a global pandemic that shut down the whole world. Folks were let go from their jobs, forced to stay at home. People were dealing with health challenges. Divorce rate is at an all-time high because I love you and you love me until we forced to sit under the same roof for 24 hours straight, right? And really realize we really don't know each other that well, right? Besides the physical chemistry, we don't have mental chemistry and it's not working out. So a lot of people thought they were seeing things clearly until 2020 came along and said, you know what? You're farsighted, you're nearsighted, you got astigmatism, you haven't seen things clearly. So for a lot of folks, 2020 was perfect vision. They saw things in their life clearly for the first time in a long time, which took us into 2021, which is what I call the year of the red flag. Because now that I can see things clearly, I'm seeing the red flag in my finances. I thought I had more money than I did. Woo, wake up call there, right? I thought that relationship was A1, right? It's the best thing in the world. Red flag, I just noticed this is not working out. I thought my business opportunity, my business partners, I thought my family and friends had my back. Woo, red flag. And what God will challenge you to do is address the red flag in the room. You can paint it blue, you can paint it purple, you can paint it green, but at the end of the day, it's a red flag. What are you going to do with the red flag? Or better yet, is it time to remove the red flag? So for a lot of people, 2021 is about letting the red flags go. And then 22, I love the line 22, the new you, because I do believe there's a new you locked inside. But you got to get through all the issues and all the challenges and all the situations and circumstances we've been in to release that version of us, that 2.0 version of ourselves, to put ourselves out there to address a new mindset, a new world. And this world has changed since 2020, right? So for myself personally, I went through all those valleys, right? I went from the mountain down the valley. I went through the 2020 issues, the 2021, and we came back out the other side on 2022. Ready to go. So for anyone out there that's wondering if life is going to get better, I assure you it will if you've done the shadow work on yourself. If you admit it to yourself, I got astigmatism, I'm farsighted, I'm nearsighted, I may need some contacts, I may need some glasses. Some of y'all out there need some bifocals. Y'all vision I got so bad on what you thought was reality. And then 2021, have I identified the red flag in my life and made plans to release it? Because in 2022, the red flag I've been holding on to, it doesn't serve.
And the one thing, the one thing I want to share that the Spirit gave to me a couple of days ago for our listeners and for myself, you know, is that the wins come from doing the work.
Woo!
The wins come from doing the work, not from wishing, but from doing the actual work. So wherever you still need to do some of that uncomfortable work of being honest with yourself, feeling some feelings you haven't felt, because guess what? The stuff you don't feel, it still stays there. And it comes out in ways that get more uncomfortable the longer you ignore it, right? So feel your feelings, process what you need to process, you know, recast your delivery team if you need to. Great people are coachable. You look at LeBron James, he's had some great coaches, right? You look at Michael Jordan and all these other people. Get under some mentors that can help you shorten your delivery time, right? But also give you some strategies to help make your labor and delivery not so difficult. So Karim, we have maybe less than 10 minutes left in the show. Can you tell people how they can find you, follow you, where they can get GPS My Success, which is a hot resource for people to have in setting the vision and starting to find their way?
Absolutely. And before I do that, I got one nugget. I got a spiritual download that hit me that I got to say. The last thing, because we were talking originally about going into birth and delivering, right? For those of you that's pregnant with something right now, you may be on the fence about it, but if I know I'm having a baby boy or baby girl, guess what? I start setting up the nursery now. I don't set up the nursery after the baby comes. I'm already setting up the nursery now. I'm already painting the walls blue or painting them pink. I'm already putting the crib in place. For those of you that know, I've been knocked up. I got something I'm supposed to give birth to in this season. Don't wait until you go into birth, right? Don't wait till you go into delivery and give birth. Start setting the things up now. Start creating the LLC now. Start getting all your resources in order now in expectation of that thing that's called moving by faith, right? That's believing that the delivery is coming. So I want to make things ready for it. So I hit the ground running when it comes there. So that's the one last piece I want to add on there for someone who knows they're pregnant. Start setting the nursery up now because it's on its way. You don't want to be behind the 8 ball trying to slap together coats of paint and putting in curtains and stuff. And the baby's here. Get it ready so the baby can go into the nursery where it can be taken care of properly for whoever needs to hear that, right? Mm-hmm. Now, to connect with me, I am all over social media at this day and age. So the easiest way to find me is if you just do a Google search under Karim R. Ellis, and I'll spell it because folks have been butchering my name for years. I've been Karim, Karim, Carl. I had a teacher one time called me Caramel, and I said, I love my chocolate and cereal. Don't get me wrong. You know, don't play with me up here. They'll call me Zaddy in a minute. Now, don't play with me, but
not Zaddy.
So I tell them off the bat, it's Karim, Karim, right? Karim, middle initial R, last name Ellis. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram under Karim Ellis 1. And oftentimes I give some sort of free trinket or prize for folks that connect with me off this broadcast for International Women's Day. Fellas, you're excluded. This is just for my women out there. The first 20 people that connect with me off of hearing this radio show on Instagram, connect with me, follow me, and most importantly, send me a DM. Don't just follow me. Send me a DM and say, I heard you on Imani Capri's Conversations with Courage show. I'm going to give you a free copy of GPS My Success. I'm going to give you a free e-copy of GPS My Success. For those of you that don't make it in that 20, go to Amazon.com. Type in GPS My Success. You get a copy there for under $20. I believe we're running right now for $14.99.
No prices, no prices, no prices, no prices.
Oh, erase that. We didn't say that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Right?
That's all right.
We have to backtrack that. You didn't hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So go to Amazon.com. You can pick it up on Amazon.com under GPS My Success. Mm-hmm. And we should be good to go from there. But I'm on every social media platform at this point in time.
Yes.
Oh, I got on the tangent.
Yes.
I forgot.
No, that's okay. And I have GPS My Success. Mm-hmm. It is a phenomenal guide. Mm-hmm. So I don't even want to call it a book. I want to say that it is a guide. It is something that you can actually put to use and help you get from point A to point B to C and so on and so forth. So
yes,
man, Karim, we are in like the last 6 minutes of the show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we go into the signature questions that I use to close the show, is there maybe like 1 minute of like that last little gem that you want to deposit with our listeners?
Absolutely. So I would say in this season, get in alignment for your assignment. Get in alignment for your assignment. For everyone here that has driven in a car, we all have had the moment where we hit a pothole or hit a curb and we knock the car out of alignment. And what happens is the car will drift to the right or drift to the left. And that means that the car can't pick up speed and go as fast as it normally should be because it's being pulled different directions. So if I'm out of alignment, it's my job to recognize my car is pulling to the right or to the left and do the work to get it back fixed properly. What that means is this: for some of you, the reason why you're not getting to your goals and dreams quick and faster, because that relationship you're in is knocking you out of alignment. That job that's not valuing your gift and talents taking you out of alignment. The relationship dynamic you have with those friends and family that keep talking negativity over your goals and dreams, they are knocking you out of alignment. And the longer I drive a car that's out of alignment, I wear down the tires, which means now the car is not operable, right? So I want to get back into alignment as soon as possible. And I want to dodge the curbs and the potholes and the speed bumps that have the ability to knock me off my course, right? So I got to be aware of who, what, and where is around me right now that has the capability to knock me out of alignment, which keeps me from picking up speed to finish my divine assignment. And for all my queens on here tonight, make no mistake, you were put here on purpose, with purpose, by purpose, for purpose. Many of you in this season have been knocked up with purpose. The question I have for you is, what are you going to give birth to? When are you going to give birth to it? And most importantly, who's in the delivery room holding your hand to help you push that thing out into this planet and give the world the greatness called you?
And you better be careful who you make the baby daddy. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, Linda, listen. Sometimes you gotta you can't take a look at that other individual and just size them up, put them to the test.
Put them
to the test. As I would say, put them to the test. Put them to the test.
This
Not
has
everybody's
been
worthy of you.
This has been so much fun. I knew it was going to be fun, though. I knew it was going to be electric, and I knew it was going to be fun. So you ready to rock with me on these closeout questions?
Let's do it. Last time you almost stumped me. So let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. These are real quick fill in the blank questions since we have like 3 minutes left. Success is.
Okay. Me.
Okay. What is the most courageous thing you've ever done?
Love.
I like that. What is the best advice you've ever received?
Focus.
What is one thing that most people don't know about you?
Silly.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing you've had to unlearn on your journey?
Pain.
When are you your happiest?
Purpose.
You really did just do one word.
I did one word, literally. I told you, I got you this time. We doing one word, right? I got last time I was about to, you had me in speaker mode. I was about to just give a whole little monologue, a mini keynote. Not this time. I was ready for you.
I wasn't ready. It was like me, love, purpose. I wasn't ready for the one word answers, but they were great. Thank you so much. So, to our WOVU listeners, thank you for tuning in today. Karim, do you want to have people shout out really quickly your social media handles? We have like 2 minutes left.
All right, 2 minutes to do it. So you can follow me on Instagram at Karim Ellis1. Make sure you put the number 1 after it. I'm on LinkedIn under Karim R. Ellis, Facebook under Karim R. Ellis, YouTube under Karim R. Ellis. If you just put me in the Google search engine, I'm everywhere. There's video clips of some of the motivational messages and memes I put out there to bless the universe with. I love to connect with you. I'll catch you on social media or I'll catch you live.
Yes. And to our WOVU listeners, happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Conversations and Courage with your girl, Imani Capri. Join us next week, same day, same time, same place, right here on 95.9 FM WOVU Cleveland. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.